face on camera, but I am not here to get into that today. What I am here to get into is the fact that I decided to step out of my old lane and get into a whole new lane, and that new lane is me interviewing successful entrepreneurs in the Atlanta area, which includes millionaires, authors, paramedics of 20 plus years, and also the king of Atlanta car rentals. The first interview that I will be doing, which is dropping this week, is the king of Atlanta car rentals. If you want to see him and me and our great chemistry, be sure to stay tuned.
Andarius, real name, but most people know me as AD.
You go by Anthony?
I do not.
Oh.
My granddad name is Andy. It's crazy. But I go by AD. I'm in the luxury car rental space. I do real estate as well, real estate development. And I also am licensed in insurance, health, life, property, casualty. So anything insurance related, I can insure you, whether it's an individual or a company. I'm licensed in all 50 states. So that's a little bit about me, but I'm mainly known for car rentals. So
Atlanta's king of car rentals.
Literally.
So this might be a little silly, but how do you decide what car you're gonna drive since you have so many? Unless you have like...
That's a good question.
Because I don't know if you have like just cars that you just keep off limits, or if you have like a personal car.
Well, to be transparent, I don't have a personal car. So I really drive whatever car is available. So let's say if, I got a BMW that didn't get rented out and I'm done for today, I'll probably drive that for today. So I say I drive based on what's not rented out.
Okay.
So if I have a few options that's not rented out, then cool, I just obviously pick the best option. But there are times where every car is gone, so I'm Ubering home. I Uber a black truck or something home. So
do you have a favorite?
Do I have a favorite car?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, my favorite car in my fleet, I would probably say the i8. Just because it's like half electric and half gas.
So hybrid.
Yeah, it's pretty much hybrid. I like it because it's kind of sleek. It makes me feel invisible.
So you did replace the one that got totaled?
Oh, absolutely. That actually turned to a win. The one that got totaled.
Let's talk about that a little bit later, because I do have a question about that. Because that was a crazy. It was like all over the news.
ATL scoop. Literally.
And the crazy part is, I actually drove past the accident.
The accident? I kid you not. I had like 30 missed calls. I turned my phone off. Because, hey, it's part of the game I'm in, unfortunately.
Definitely. So Marriott was your last 9 to 5, correct?
State Farm was.
State Farm, okay. Correct. So was Marriott like the catalyst to you wanting your financial freedom, or was it State Farm?
Well, I feel like it all helped with one another. So Marriott, that's like hospitality. So with hospitality, it was teaching me how to, talk to people, how to network. That was really how I learned how to network, because we used to have a lot of weddings of different cultures. Like I remember it was like some people from India was getting married. So, that's a whole different culture new to Atlanta. So I kind of just learned how to like be able to fill the room of whoever I encountered. So I transitioned that to State Farm. And then with State Farm, all I was doing was taking calls and helping people with their policies, getting them new policies and stuff like that. So I'm meeting people that I don't even see. So now it's like I was getting cool with people who would normally call often or whatnot, just getting familiar with them. So I think those two things led to me getting good with car rentals, because it's still kind of a service type business, although they're driving a car, but the whole experience of who they encounter matters too. So, and I think that alone is probably what separates me from everybody else, because not just rent a car, like
you actually had the knowledge prior to it.
Exactly.
Because I've definitely seen a lot of people who just jump into car rentals and don't have the protocols.
I know a lot.
Car breaking down on the people.
I know a lot of people that at the time, because when Turo became a thing, people just thought, oh, I'm gonna rent cars out like it was a get rich quick scheme type thing.
And that was your original platform, right?
I originally started on Turo back in 2019.
Okay.
So what made it different, just because everybody thought it was so easy. But by that time, I'm like a year in. So I'm just like, no, that's not what everybody think. But hey, they could test it out and see. And in my mindset, I'm just like, yeah, a lot of people rent cars. But then sometimes I rent cars from other people just to see if I'm doing something wrong.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how I learned about by actually doing it myself, seeing what I'm doing wrong. Like, so I visited Miami. I go to MVP Miami just to see what their protocol is. If it's similar to mine, they okay, they let you know I'm doing something right.
Definitely.
But if they're doing something I know I'm missing, I got some work to do.
Snapchat real quick.
Exactly.
Definitely.
I
You have a mentor when you first started out. You kind of answered that before. You said you got that some of your knowledge from work.
Yeah, I did,
Mm-hmm.
but it came. I don't know if everybody believes in law of attraction, but that's a real thing. So,
Definitely.
So I didn't have a mentor when I first started, right? So I just started, you know.
So it was self-taught.
It was self-taught. So of course I learned from experience as I go.
Definitely.
But there was a guy that I was following on Instagram. His name is Pushman Mitch. He rent cars as well. And I was following him for maybe like months. And I was just like, man, he's killing it. Like, that was my motivation. Like, that was my motivation.
It was somebody you like was inspired by.
Exactly, correct. And it just so happened, I played basketball a lot in Atlanta. Ran into him at the gym. I ran into him at LA Fitness. And mind you, at this time, nobody really knew who he was. But I did because I was in the car rental space. So we ended up playing pickup basketball. And then we started talking about the car rental. You know, I asked him, he was asking me what I do. So I told him, like, yeah, I just started doing the car rental. So that's like my main thing. I just quit my job.
Okay.
So cool. And then he was having a networking event in Miami that same weekend, which was also my birthday. And I was going to Miami anyways.
Like, why not?
So that's why I say law of attraction was real, because I was able to attract that person that I was so inspired about. So went to Miami, networked a little bit more, learned more about the car rental space. Now I learned about boats.
Okay.
So
Because you have a few, don't you?
I have a few jet skis in Miami.
So are you just based in Atlanta, or you also have stuff in Miami too?
So I have stuff in Miami as well.
Okay.
I'm like, majority is in Atlanta, but I do have a fleet in Miami, and I do have jet skis and a couple boats in Miami as well.
What motivated you in the beginning when you first started? Because I know it might have been hard and everything at first.
What motivated me is just, well, one, I always wanted a car rental company.
Okay.
Just a crazy story. When I was in college, my finance professor used to kick me out of class because I was always looking at cars when we supposed to be looking at the assignment or whatever the case may be. I was looking at cars. And he used to always tell me, you're not gonna pass my class if you're looking at cars. And I was like, I'm gonna pass your class, but I'm also get these cars too. So
I'm still gonna dream.
yeah, I'm just, but I mean, I'll just say my motivation was just, I always had a drive for cars, but then I already knew cars was just gonna be that avenue that leads to what I ultimately want to get into. So that was my inspiration. And then of course it's just like, in my family, nobody has a business. I mean, well, now they do, but at that time, nobody was like, nobody was like familiar with the business. First one to go to college with a finance degree. I always got questioned why I went to school for finance. And I was just like, do you understand money? That would be my response. So I went to understand money in all aspects. So that was my motivation. I just wanted to be different. I always been that way. I just always wanted to do something different. And if it don't work, I'd rather, fail and try than to not try. And then 100%
I feel like if you don't try it out, you already failed.
Exactly. And that was me. And I heard a lot of, thoughts from, fearful thoughts from other people, like, oh, I don't think that's not smart. How you gonna insure the cars? How you gonna get the cars? Like, all these questions. Like, I didn't know at the time, but I'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So that was my motivation. I actually feed off negative energy. It sounds crazy, but like, when I hear negative,
some people that drives them, like saying that you can't do something. Oh no, I'm gonna.
That makes me want to go a little harder now. I'm like, I'm gonna make sure I do it now. So when I do it, we go cross paths again. So now you'll see. Remember last time?
I proved you wrong.
Yeah, like that gives me like a little fire. So that keeps me going.
What was the first car you rented out?
The first car I rented out was my Dodge Durango, and
You still have it?
I still have it. I actually just sold it in New York, but so.
Wow.
I still had it, and it was like, and I'll admit, in the car rental space, you don't supposed to have an emotional attachment, but that car I do, because that was the car that led to everything.
That's what started it.
So that's like the OG of all my cars.
Was that like the first car you ever had?
That was the first car I ever had, like in my personal name. So I was working for State Farm, and of course, I I was saving a little money. I'm gonna give me a car. I want this Durango. Cool. I got the Durango. You know, typical guy. I added tint to it, painted the wheels black. You know, got the brake calipers. Yeah, you know, added my own little touch to it. So now I got this new looking Durango. Cool. But then I realized when I was working at State Farm, I'm working from home. I'm sitting in the house all day. But my car is sitting out there, and every month I'm paying that car note. I'm paying that insurance.
That's like the
I'm just like, bro, I'm barely driving this car, but it's, you know, it's an expense. So that's why I was like, you know what? I'm finna rent it out. I kid you not. My first booking on a car, a dude from he played overseas basketball. This was on the Turo platform. He booked it for 2 months. I'll never forget. I made like 2 bands. And mind you, in my mind, I'm like, dang, my car note only $350. My insurance was only like $200. I was like, dang, so my profit $1,500 and I did nothing? That just paid my rent. So now I was working for State Farm just for extras. So, and that changed my mindset, because now I'm just like, dang, so if I can make this off one car, what if I got 30? Yeah. I wouldn't have to work for State Farm no more. State Farm would be happy to have me. So, that literally just led to everything. But Durango was my first car, and it did well. Like, still to this day, the person asks, oh, what's your best performing car? Granted, a Durango now is a high-risk car. At that time, people weren't really stealing cars and breaking in cars.
Like anything Dodge.
Yeah, because that was a thing that, like, you know, now it's a thing. People are stealing Dodge-type cars. But at that time, I didn't have to deal with that. So now, I probably wouldn't rent a Durango now. But that specific car, that was the one that started it all.
That was OG.
Yeah.
So how long after launching your rental business did you add more cars to your fleet?
Not gonna lie, I was moving a little fast.
Okay.
But then,
do you regret moving fast? Like looking back?
No, because moving fast is where I learned all the lessons that I know now.
You had to fall and not pick yourself back up.
Yes, believe it or not. So, like when it comes to like moving fast, right? So, okay, I'm excited. The car did well. So then my second car, I had got a Nissan Maxima.
Okay.
Cool. Nissan Maxima's ran out well. Then third car, I got an Audi. So in my mind, I wanted to get like a tier of each type of car. So I'm like, okay, I got one luxury car, I got one economy car, and I got an SUV. So that was my mindset at the time. Like, let me just see which one performs the best. So then I realized, like, damn, they all kind of perform around the same. So I was just like, okay, cool. So that'll be my niche. I need to just stick with that. So then I started finding a way, like, because obviously banks don't allow you to buy that many cars under your personal name. Because when you go purchase a car, they see I got 3 cars already. They're like, why you need a 4th car? And granted, I can't really tell them like, oh yeah, I got a car rental business, at that time, because I'm buying a car under my personal name. Now, if it was my business name, they wouldn't care. But my personal name. So now that's when I started experiencing like, dang, I can't get another car that limited me. So that's when like auctions come into a place where like you save up money, go to an auction, buy one for cheap, fix it up a little bit. Now you can rent it. So I would say I moved pretty fast, but then I started doing joint ventures. So I started partnering with people who had cars who just sit in park in my same scenario. But hey, I could turn that liability to an asset. You know, I break the numbers down, but hey, I can guarantee you this amount. So then I was able to start taking on more cars. So now I might have 4 cars myself. At the partner, now I might be at 15. So now it's like, okay, now I'm managing all these cars, cool. But then that's when accidents start happening, break-ins start happening, and all this stuff started happening. But I'm glad I was moving fast, because it also taught me how to build relationships with people. And then I understood that it's not gonna always work out when you partner with people. Right? I learned that in the process. So it's okay to tell people no, even if they got the fanciest car. It's okay to tell them no if they don't align with what my business and my company.
You said that the other day. You was like, if they don't have insurance or their ID or like certain qualifications,
exactly.
It's no, even if they have all the money up front.
Exactly, and I'll be honest, at that time when I first started, I had a lot of artists like, hey, I want to rent this car, I don't have no insurance, I pay another $1,000. Obviously, at that time, I'm like, yeah, come on.
You're like, money.
Give me the 1,000, cool. But then got scenarios like the I-8 situation, totaled the car.
Wasn't that a rapper?
That was a rapper. Totaled the car out. Boom, now the car's totaled. Now you asked me if that $1,000 got my car fixed.
No,
didn't.
When the car, isn't the car like almost 150?
Well, at that time, it was like 80K.
Okay.
It wasn't that much, but it was
But
like
that's not the 1,000.
the 1,000 does not compare at all. So then, of course, luckily, I worked for State Farm, and I understood the insurance business. So that's when I learned that you can't rent cars out under your personal insurance because that's commercial usage. You see what I'm saying? So that's when I learned that. But luckily, I was able to pull some strings and get myself out of that sticky situation. The claim got settled. They paid me off on the car. Cool. But now moving forward, I know, okay, every car has to have commercial insurance. But then I started searching commercial insurance policies. Now I'm trying to figure out who's the cheapest, who has the best coverage with everything, basically full coverage, but for commercial. That's all I was looking for.
So is commercial its own insurance, or can you get it like through Progressive? And
you can get it through Progressive, but they have limitations.
Okay.
Sometimes for certain type of cars, they want to even insure. Like for example, the G-Wagon, I had a few companies like, oh, it's too much. We're not going to insure it for commercial. We'll insure it for personal, but not for commercial. So this is different stipulations, but
that you had to learn as you went.
then I just found a company that was best for car rentals specifically, meaning most of their clients are car rental companies. So once I found that, it made the process a lot more smoother. But that was probably like the biggest thing of moving fast. Like I just learned from moving fast.